Okay, we should get started with the next one. It's going to be up next is District Metals. District Metals calls itself Sweden's energy metals company. They have 100% ownership of the largest undeveloped uranium mine in the world. They also have a joint venture with Boliden to advance the Tomtebo and Stallberg polymetallic properties. They have a market capitalization of around 45 million, fully diluted share count of about 164 million shares. They trade under the TSX Venture under DMX, the OTCQB under DMXCF, and the NASDAQ First North under DMXSESDB. I'd like to welcome President and CEO Garrett Ainsworth to tell us more.
All right, thanks for a great introduction there. So with District Metals, we entered Sweden in 2020, and it was more on the base metal polymetallic side. So we're working on 3 base metal polymetallic projects, but more recently, we've picked up 5 very exciting uranium polymetallic projects in Sweden, and I'll get into those in the presentation. So just a cautionary statement here, you can find this on our website. And I get a lot of investors that ask me, like, why should I invest in your company? And this slide here really just pins it down. So from a very high level, we've got the team that's had a lot of success from exploration through to discoveries, capital markets and everything else around that health, safety, environment. Obviously we're focused in Sweden. It's an amazing jurisdiction to be in. The current government is very pro-mining. They're also they say they're going to lift the Uranium Moratorium come this September. I'll get more into that. It's obviously very important because we have 100% of the Viken deposit. This is the largest undeveloped uranium deposit in the world, or another way to put it, it's the second largest uranium deposit after Olympic Dam. So we also have 4 other uranium projects in Sweden as well. And then on the base metal side of things, we have a collaboration with Boliden Minerals AB, very large Scandinavian producer. And so they're spending $10 million over 4 years on our Tomtebo project, and they brought in their Stålberget project. We're the operator, we get an operator fee. We've had some great drill results out of Tomtebo, 30 meters of very solid base metal polymetallic intercepts. And I won't get too much into the team. As a bit of background myself, I'm a geologist by training, had a lot of success in the Athabasca Basin. Was there for 11 years, took a lead role in the discovery of the Triple R deposit that got bought out for $189 million. In 2013, then I was the VP Exploration for Next Gen Energy, had a lot of success with the Arrow uranium deposit, other discoveries along that trend in the southwest Athabasca. Won a number of industry awards for my time there, and then got a hold of a shell company that is District Metals, and that's where we came into Sweden in 2020. So on the base metal side of things, Hein Ratt and Rodney Allen really lead the technical charge there. They work for Boliden for a very long time, highly skilled geologists and very well rounded out with community relations and everything else. They know how things operate in Sweden. Our board's well covered off. Joanna is a lawyer, so the skill matrix here is very good. Doug Ramshaw, very well-known executive. He was with Great Bear and also Minera Alamos right now as an executive. Jonathan Chalice, mine engineer, and worked for Ivanhoe Group as well. On the advisory team, Rita Bennett's a key member, helps out with the marketing initiatives and corporate communications. And Sophia Shane was with the Lundin Group for 28 years. She knows the ins and outs of Sweden and has a very long contact list, so it's been very helpful being in country. So with share structure, actually this week we announced a $6 million financing with Pareto Securities. The demand was well over $9 million. So trying to fit that into 6 is seeing some market demand. It was done at 27 cents with no warrant. We're trading at about 37 cents now based on that. I will say out of the 6 million, half of it went to a very well-known, serially successful group that will remain anonymous for the time being. And the remaining 3 million went to a group of Swedish funds, family offices, and high net worths that will be holding all their shares on our NASDAQ First North listing in Sweden, which is very, very important to bolster that side of the business. But the support was overwhelming, especially because uranium over the last year and a quarter hasn't been doing so well. But we had a very impressive amount of interest for this financing. So with Sweden, they get about 30% of their electricity from nuclear reactors. The government that's in right now is looking to build 10 reactors by 2045. They're extremely pro-nuclear, and they've stated that they intend to lift the uranium moratorium, which has massive implications for district and our valuation. So just a bit of the history on this uranium moratorium. It was put in place in 2018, and then the new government came in around September 2022, started talking about lifting the uranium ban, and they made some really good moves in 2024 by commencing an inquiry into lifting the ban. The results for that were made available on December 20th of last year, and they provided a timeline. So they had a bunch of comments come in by March 20th of this year. We're a stakeholder. We provided our comments. And the plan that they have now, it's actually in the parliamentary schedule for the proposed bill to lift the uranium moratorium to be voted on in September of this year. The government says that they have a majority to approve this bill, and that will be a monumental moment for District Metals. Now, legislation only changes 2 times a year in Sweden, January 1st and July 1st, but this change will, but the September vote really is our green light to go full steam ahead with our uranium projects in Sweden. So just looking at our Viken project, this is the flagship uranium polymetallic project here. A little bit of history. It was discovered by the Geological Survey of Sweden, 1978. But at that time, foreign companies weren't allowed to operate in Sweden. So Continental Precious Minerals got hold of it in 2006. They put out some mineral resource estimates that were very impressive with PEAs, and reached a market cap of 330 million. And then more recently, just a few weeks ago, we put out an updated mineral resource estimate on the Viken, which really confirmed that it is the largest undeveloped uranium deposit in the world, with a bunch of other critical and important raw materials. So, and our next door neighbors, Hagen or Aura Energy, have the Hagen deposit. That's the yellow outline deposit there. They put out a scoping study in September of 2023, so it's the most up-to-date economic study on an alum shale type deposit, which makes up the Viken. So they have the west extension of our Viken deposit, and the economic numbers from that were very, very impressive. So here's just the table showing some of the resource here. I mean, the bulk of the resource is in the inferred category. So we've got 4.3 billion tons of inferred with 1.5 million pounds of uranium, and then 24.3 billion pounds of vanadium, and then also billions of pounds of molybdenum, nickel, copper, zinc. There's phosphate, there's rare earth elements, and there's also potash as well. So it's very strategic in the sense of all these important and critical raw materials that are in this deposit, which will only help with permitting down the track. And I should say that the SGU, the Geological Survey, is actually it's actually it's working on designating the Viken deposit as an area of national interest, and so that again will only help out with permitting in this part of the world. So, I mean, one question I get from people is, well, the Viken deposit, it's pretty low-grade uranium, and yes, it is, but it also has, many other very, very important metals like vanadium and potash and the other base metals. But when you look at Southern Africa, all these are uranium deposits, and they're low-grade as well. But yet, in the last uranium cycle, the monetizing events you saw here were more than any monetizing event from high-grade uranium deposits. So in 2007, Uranium was bought out for $2.5 billion US dollars for quite a low-grade deposit there. And then in 2012, Extract Resources was bought out by CGN for 2.2 billion Australian dollars. Meanwhile, in the Athabasca Basin, the highest monetizing event there was about 650 million, where Rio Tinto bought out Hathor, and that actually didn't turn out so well for Rio Tinto. They ended up selling it at a major loss to UEC, I believe, a couple of years ago. So there is some huge value in low-grade uranium deposits when and I think it's because you broaden your potential base of suitors that could potentially buy you out. So I'll just go on to, the base metals for a little bit here. So this is what got us into Sweden in 2020 with Tomtebo. So the Bergslagen is a world-renowned district for these gigantic base metal polymetallic deposits and mines such as Garpenberg. Actually, Hein and I will be doing a site tour of the Garpenberg mine next Tuesday that we're really excited about. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about hundreds of millions of tons of material. These are highly efficient, mines that go quite deep, and they make a lot of money for Boliden. And the other thing about the Bergslagen is it's had very little modern systematic exploration, so that's where we've seen the opportunity. But very importantly, we've brought in Boliden to help out with the financing. So they're spending $10 million over 4 years. We're the operator. We get an operator fee. And at the end of the 4 years, we'll have 15%. They'll have 85%. But we're not looking for something small here. We're looking for another Garpenberg type deposit. And 15% of that is probably going to be a much higher market capitalization than we're currently at, which is around 45, 47 million Canadian dollars. But and with this collaboration, they've also brought in their Stålberget project, which is 35 kilometers to the southwest of Tomtebo, and you can see how close Garpenberg is. So it's a very, very exciting area to be doing exploration and development activities. And just some of the results that we've had from our drilling at the Tomtebo project from 2021 up into 2024. So we're looking at intercepts of 12 meters up to 30 meters with very good grades of base metal polymetallic. There's some really good silver and gold credits that are within these deposits. So you can see that there. We've had some bonanza grade intercepts actually in one of our holes of a couple 100 grams per ton gold. And then just looking at the timeline, so of District Metals. So earlier this year, we got listed on the NASDAQ First North Growth. We released some drill assays from the Stålberget project that we drilled in late 2024. We started drilling at our Tomtebo project, so we've got good news flow from drilling on the base metal polymetallic side of things. A couple of weeks ago, we announced the updated mineral resource estimate for the Viken deposit. I mean, this was a 44% increase to the inferred, and it was a 960% increase on the indicated from the 2014 mineral resource estimate on the Viken. So very, very successful there. And then in the weeks and months coming ahead here, we'll be starting some very significant airborne geophysical surveys on our Swedish uranium properties, with more news coming out on that. And then we'll look to commence drilling once again at the Stolbette property. We're financed $3 million for 2025, and that's really, between Tomtebo and Stolbette, the majority of that money is going to go towards drilling. So that's going to be about 7,000 meters of drilling in 2025. And then, of course, September of this year is the bill to lift the uranium moratorium. And upon successful approval of that bill, we will look to start a preliminary economic assessment for the Viken deposit, which we'd hopefully be done by middle of 2026. And just in summary here, you've got a very strong team with District Metals, technically, capital markets, and everything else in between. Obviously, we're very focused on Sweden. Could not be happier with the jurisdiction, very pro-mining government. We've got a great portfolio of uranium projects. We've got a collaboration with Boliden being funded. And I'm very proud of our shareholders that we have within District, and very excited to welcome in new shareholders from the financing that is basically being completed, but just the final paperwork is going to be done over the next week or 10 days or so. I think I'll end there, right on time. And if there's any questions, please go ahead and shoot.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have time for questions now, so I'll have to find you outside.
Okay.
I have to channel my inner German and keep things on schedule.
Okay, good.